I am Zeel Bhatt and welcome to my channel Zeel's Pharmacy Tutorial. And today we are going to study about classification of carbohydrates. If you want to know about the basic definition of the carbohydrate, please go through the tutorial session on my channel Zeel's Pharmacy Tutorial. Now let us have a look on the classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates could be mainly divided into three categories, that is monosaccharide, oligosaccharide and polysaccharides. Now let us have a brief note on the first category of classification of carbohydrate, that is monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are the simple sugars having general formula CnH2ON. Now monosaccharides could be further classified into two groups. First is based on functional group and second is based on the number of carbon. Now based on the functional group, monosaccharides could be further classified into two more types, that is aldoses and ketoses. Aldoses means the monosaccharides which contains aldehyde as their functional group, and ketoses means the monosaccharide which contains ketone as their functional group. Now the second classification of monosaccharide, that is based on the number of carbon. In the general formula of monosaccharide CnH2ON, depending upon the number of N, they are classified. Like if N is equals to 3, it is known as trioses. If N is equals to 4, it is known as tetroses. If N is equals to 5, it is known as pentoses. If N is equals to 6, it is known as hexoses. And if N is equals to 7, it is known as heptoses. Now moving towards the second classification of carbohydrate, that is oligosaccharides. Oligosaccharides are the carbohydrates which contains 2 to 10 units of monosaccharides linked together. Like if it contains 2 units of monosaccharide linked together, it is known as disaccharide. For an example, disaccharides are lactose, sucrose and maltose. Likewise, if it contains 3 units of monosaccharide combined together, it is known as trisaccharide. And if it contains 4 units of monosaccharide combined together, it is known as tetrasaccharide. Likewise, if 10 units are combined together, it is known as decasaccharide. Now heading towards the last classification of carbohydrate, that is polysaccharide. Polysaccharides are the carbohydrate which contains many units of monosaccharide linked together. Now polysaccharides could also be classified into two types, that is homopolysaccharide and heteropolysaccharide. Now what is homopolysaccharide? Homopolysaccharides are the polysaccharides which contain same units of monosaccharide linked together to form a polysaccharide. And now what is heteropolysaccharide? Heteropolysaccharide means the different units of monosaccharide linked together to form a polysaccharide. Now example of homopolysaccharide is cellulose and the example of heteropolysaccharide is mucopolysaccharide.